Hi, I'm Michael Jason, and I played the Villengard in Doctor Who. And you're listening to me on Mark Who 42.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Mark Who 42's universe, or should I say today, Whoniverse, because we've got a Doctor Who show for you. We are reviewing Joy to the World. Let me bring out our panel, my co-hosts. Who's my first co-host?
Vicky Jakubowski.
Hi, Vicky.
Hi.
Ready for the blizzard?
It'll be fine.
You'll be
We'll
fine?
probably just get rain and it'll snow in the mountain and it'll just fizzle out. That's what it's been doing so far this year.
So your snow will be it probably won't. Well, our next co-host is going to have a little more snow, I think. Hello there. Who do we have?
Juan Sanmiguel in Orlando.
Hey, Juan. How's it going?
Okay. Busy trying to take care of end of the year things, a lot of financial stuff.
Oh, yeah. All the good stuff. All the financial. I love the financial stuff. The show has got some great financial gains, don't you think?
Well...
Don't worry about it, folks. We're making not a penny. Anyway, let me introduce. We have a special guest. We have a special guest with us today. He was on our last review show for Doctor Who a couple of many months ago. We have Jarrod Cooper. Hello, Jarrod.
I'm only here until the door of the Time Hotel shows up. The minute the door shows up, I'm out.
Okay, that works for me. That works for me because I'm sweating. I swear to God. A lot of hotels do have that door. And yeah, they're doors between two rooms. But if you don't have anybody in the second room that's in your party, it's for all intents and purposes locked. What is behind that door? Well, in this episode, we found out what was behind that door. But before we go there, I mentioned snow. Jarrod and Juan, what's coming up on Friday?
Mark, you say it's like it's just us. It's supposed to be down in the 20s in Miami.
Ooh.
So
I need to go in. You know what? I did not look at my weather app because I did not even. Wow, and maybe we'll get snow then because it always rains in South Florida. Wow. Hey everybody, our next show may be snowed in. Woohoo! Party time, excellent. Okay.
So does that mean you're gonna do the holiday special, The Snowmen?
Oh,
we should. Let's do a watch along.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, and as a side that I actually watched The Abominable Snowman. It's on the Doctor Who Classics on YouTube.
The animated, okay.
The animated, yeah. We don't have the real one, obviously, except for episode 2. And it's okay. I think there's an interesting plot point, not a whole, but an interesting plot point that they missed. But we're not talking about that. We can talk about that at some point later.
Okay. Yeah, maybe we'll do it. I would like to review Abominable Snowman.
Yeah, that.
A lot of people can't pronounce abominable.
Well, I wonder why.
Anyway, before we talk about Joy to the World, we need to talk about something else. On BBC 4, 2 days before they showed Joy to the World, they released a colorized version and shortened version of The War Games, the final Patrick Troughton story, last season of season 6, last story, 10 episodes. So that's 10 episodes would be 250 minutes, and they cut it down to 90 minutes? But and I know Jarrod, you've seen this, right, Jarrod?
Yep.
And we've seen the new version. Jarrod, what did you think about the new version? Let's say it doesn't replace. What do you think of the new version as maybe an alternate universe or something?
I'm okay with it as them trying to do something. I don't like that Butcher gets rid of season 6B, but there is enough. What's the word I'm looking for? There's enough haziness in it that you could fit the two Doctors into it. You could fit other stories in there.
Yeah.
Not a straight all the way through. There is wiggle room there. I'm okay with it. it seemed a little, when I first heard about it, it seemed a little bit like a passion project, because I was like, why are they doing this? Who in the grand scheme of things ordered a 90-minute chainsaw version of the war game? Juan actually hit the nail on the head, because one thing they've been doing throughout the world is they've got the classic Doctor Who YouTube channel where they're uploading serials.
Yes.
Now take a look. The first serial that they did this to was the Daleks, another long thing they had to chainsaw it.
Yeah.
Now you're going to get the war games. My story about the war games is, when I was growing up, I never knew what happened to the second Doctor, Jamie and Zoe, because in Alabama they played it in movie format. It started at 9:30 at night, getting in till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I was asleep by the end of it. But the more that I thought about it, if they are uploading full classic series serials onto YouTube, it would make a lot more sense for views, etc., to have a 90-minute version to upload rather than a 5-6 hour version to upload. So if that's the reason that these exist, okay, I buy it.
Well, I got to say, I actually enjoyed it. The Dalek, when they did the Daleks, there was I had some issues with it. This one seemed to work for me. Not, like I said, not as a replacement, but as its own entity. I actually enjoyed this one. I thought that, and I actually showed it to my Doctor Who club before we watched Jordan of the World, and I basically told them, okay, this version, if you have to go to the bathroom, go beforehand, because there's no spot anywhere in this to miss. It was like, because they cut it to a way that every second was important. They took all the quote unquote padding, even Turn Sticks said the original one had quote unquote padding, a lot of it. They took out a lot of padding. So it was beat, 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 beat. But it worked. It worked for me as its own separate entity. I liked the soundtrack. They did the music over again, right, Jared? It wasn't the original music. Yeah. They did that. There were effects that were new. The bass of the Warlord and everything, they had a CGI effect, and it was kind of cool. Except I noticed they used the same one over and over, because I saw a little truck going up towards the upper left-hand corner about 4 of the 5 times they showed that model. So that was a little annoying. But no, I enjoyed it. I had fun with it. The regeneration sequence. I actually It was like something released a year ago that it seemed to be a repeat of. Jared, wasn't there something that was released?
There was like a fan film or something.
Yeah, and it was very close.
That was very, very close.
Very close.
And it's really funny if you think about it. They only had, of all 10 episodes, they could only use 8 minutes per episode.
Yes. Yeah. But the final episode, they had to shoehorn a lot in, because of and folks, this is a spoiler, but it's not a spoiler. You find out that the Doctor's a Time Lord, that he's on Gallifrey, he stole the TARDIS and all this. So you get the whole backstory, but that's like, you can't cut that. That was, I think that last episode, not 8 minutes, must have had 15 or 20 minutes on it, plus the tag on new regeneration sequence. Now, what was interesting, I'm watching the sequence, and Juan, actually, you had mentioned that you had heard about this. When the Doctor is being regenerated and sent to his exile on Earth, and they have a CGI of the TARDIS heading towards Earth, you see these 2 or 3 ball-like shapes.
It's the nesting spears.
It's the nesting. But right. But here's the thing. When I was watching this, and I was watching this at like 3 a.m. This part was at 3 a.m. And I'm watching, I'm enjoying it. And I see that, I'm going, wow, I can't believe this. I was like, that was the biggest Easter egg of the whole thing. I thought, oh, that is the killer. And I originally, I had this whole thing I wanted to talk about, but I don't. Just that it was just came in the shot. I was very happy. It was for people who knew what Spearhead from Space was. If you didn't know it, it's just meteors, things coming down. You don't know what it is. But if you know Spearhead from Space, you totally know what that is. And I thought that was fan service, but really well-deserved placement.
But really, was it any more fan service than showing David Tennant and him for the "he's too skinny" line?
Okay, now there you go. In the regeneration, in the original story, when the Doctor's supposed to be picking someone to turn into visage, is it visages or visage? Yeah. Anyway, looking for them, and they have just random people and faces and stuff. In the new one, you see who? Jarrod, you see
Matt, you see David, and you see Peter Capaldi.
Hold on. You see Jody.
Yep.
Jody's in there. And I thought, and he's like, no, none of them will do. And that was also a kick. That was also really cool.
I want to cut in. I think a long time ago, and I can't remember it. I wish I could find it. They did something similar in a fan video when they do the selection, and they cut, but they were using classic doctors rather. Unfortunately, and I could be wrong about this. And sorry, Colin, if you're listening to this. I think they used Colin for, oh, he's too fat, and Peter Davison for he's too young, So they did that with with the classic doctors.
Okay, so it's similar to what they did.
But that was a fan film. It's somewhere in YouTube, if it still exists at all, but I can't remember where I saw it.
I enjoyed it as what it was. Folks, if you haven't seen it, and I have, you should probably try to find, I don't want to say try to find a way. When it eventually comes, somehow
see it, because right now Americans cannot see it.
Yeah. I'm not American. It looks like I am. It sounds like I am. I'm not American. I'm actually Gallifreyan. I'm Gallifreyan. I can zip back and forth. It doesn't really matter. Okay, folks. We're going to take a little break now. When we come back, we're going to do our main topic of our show, which is our review to Joy to the World. We'll be right back here on Mark Who 42's Universe.
Don't go away. Don't go away. We'll be back with more Mark Who 42 after this.
Oh, hey, I got something.
Since 2009, we have been the premier cartoon podcast here at the Geekcast Radio Network. We are Tooncast, from taking you beyond the cartoons we grew up with to seasonal saucy toon talk, and now we get the origins of toonsters everywhere as we ask guests 30 questions about their cartoon watching experiences, plus so much more. Tooncast is back. Join me, TFG and Mike, and the rest of the GCRN crew as we give you all the toon talk you will ever need, only on the GCRN, and wherever you consume your podcasts. We are beyond good, beyond evil, beyond your wildest imagination. We are all tunes all the time here on Tooncast.
Yeah.
Get ready for the ultimate geek experience right here in the Sunshine State. Florida Geek Scene presents a full calendar of events and conventions. From anime to horror, we've got it all. Meet your favorite stars, find rare collectibles, and immerse yourself in your passions. Experience the thrill of cosplay and witness amazing live performances. Stay up to date with the latest news and reviews all across Florida. Florida Geek Scene, where pop culture happens. Visit us online for more. Don't miss out on the fun. Join us at Florida Geek Scene. FloridaGeekScene.com.
You are listening to Mark Who 42's Universe.
Welcome back to more of Mark Who 42's Universe. My name is Mark Baumgarten. With me today are Vicky Jakubowski, Juan Sanmiguel, and our special guest, Jarrod Cooper. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hi. Greetings.
Okay, so let's talk about Joy to the World. It was broadcast on BBC One and in the UK and on Disney Plus around the rest of the world on December 25th at 5:10 UK time, or 12:10 Eastern, or 9:10 a.m. Pacific, or wherever you are in this wacky world of ours. It was, of course, written by Stephen Moffat. Woohoo! Yeah, Stephen Moffat. Before I go further, I thought this felt like one of his Christmas stories. He did some amazing Christmas stories over the years, and this one fit in.
Well, let me just put in this break. Moffat had a tendency to put the Christmas in the Christmas specials, because I think, the thing is, I think I'm blanking out on Chimnall, but I think both Chimnall and RTD had a tendency. Well, we just said it at Christmas. And it really, the Christmas rarely had an element. It's just, and I now realize, wait a minute, Chimble never had a Christmas special.
Yeah, he had New Year's specials. New Year's specials. Yeah. But I agree. Moffat definitely puts Christmas into a Christmas episode, and it's a Christmas episode. When you watch a TV show that's had a special Christmas episode, it's about Christmas, so this works. It was directed by Alex Sanjeev Pillai. Some of his work you might know him from. He directed an episode or two of Bridgerton. Riverdale, and The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. These are ones you might know out there.
And he'll confess to it too. That's interesting.
He will. The
Jared,
music...
I honestly thought Sabrina was popular. I mean, I didn't get to see it, so I'm agnostic about it.
Yeah,
I watched Sabrina.
What do you say? So what were you saying? What were you joking about? What he admitted?
Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Yeah,
entirely different.
Yeah,
but I thought that kind of had a cult appeal.
Well, yeah, I guess it might have. Okay, music was by Murray Gold. Yay! I'm glad he's back. I was, when he came back with the 60th anniversary episodes, I was happy. The theme again. I did not like the theme music during Jodie's tenure, and I don't want to put anything down, but I was not a big fan of the music. It was the executive producers, of course, Russell T. Davis, Julie Gardner, Gene Tranter, Joel Collins, Phil Collinson, and because this is a very special episode, the special guest executive producer, Stephen Moffat. He did that in Boom. If you watch Boom, he's listed and he's executive producer again. It's very nice for them to throw him. Well, I'm not gonna say throw him a bone. He deserved it. He deserved it. Guys, what did you think? I know people were going, oh, the ratings. Oh, it's proving that RTD is failing. It's not, because I'm going to tell you something. On Christmas Day, first of all, this wasn't shown at midnight or released at midnight on BBC iPlayer. Jordan the World was watched by 4.1 million viewers on Christmas Day. That was the 6th most watched program across all channels on Christmas. Now, once it beat it, there was the Wallace and Gromit was there. The King's Speech was there. Strictly was there.
But Gavin and Stacey was.
Gavin and Stacey. Okay, now that's interesting because people go, oh yeah, 4 million or 5 million. That's a usual amount now. Gavin and Stacey got over 12 million viewers.
It was on at 10 o'clock at night. People weren't out festivating. They were already home and hungover and stuck on the couch from eating. So of course.
And Gavin and Stacey was this episode, the final ever episode, because you can't go further. I say you can't go any further. It was a very important. This was like something that everyone's been waiting for years. And yeah, Doctor Who is important to us fans, but Gavin and Stacey has been around since 1990 or 2000? It was a long time ago that they started Gavin and Stacey. So yeah, that was the number one. Within 4 days of its release, though, of Jordan of the World, within 4 days of its release, it ranked within the top 10 worldwide titles on Disney Plus. Top 10. And I know people were going, oh yeah, Disney, it's not working on Disney. It's not making top 10, folks, on this one.
And you got to think that that's combating with all the 4-year-olds that are singing their Frozen and
oh yeah. Okay. And this is new for us, while we're recording this. After 7 days, so we've got the 7 days when they redid the ratings, Jordan of the World has achieved 6.2 million viewers. The 2024 Christmas special is now the 4th most watched TV show that transmitted that day on Christmas Day, and the 5th most watched program overall for the 7 days. It has released higher figures than any season 1 episode and beat the amount of people who saw episode 1 of Squid Games, which was in England only 4.2 million for the 7 days, the first 7 days of Squid Games, and we're up to 6.2. And I know Squid Games was very highly wanted. So I think the ratings are I think the show is good, and people saying, "Oh yeah, Disney's going to drop them." I'm not sure. And what do you guys think? Do you think, Jared? What do you think about the people saying Disney's going to drop it after season 2?
The BBC was going to cancel it after the Eccleston series. That's what I have to say about that.
That's all you have to. That's all you have to say. And in my mind, you're doing the war between the land and the sea. Disney doesn't have to do that. I mean, it's in their contract, but why are they doing it if they're not happy with the show and going to get rid of it?
Look,
anyway.
Unfortunately, I have to agree with my friends on Radio Free Scarrow. The fans are always in a panic because of the 80s.
I agree.
You got to get over it. To me, I don't believe anything until I see a BBC press release, whether it's new episodes, series renewal. I don't believe in doom and gloom. If I see it in an official press release, I'll buy it. That's why I have seen the things that you talked about in the war games and the prelude to this podcast. I don't fully believe because I've only seen it in YouTube clips. So until I watch it, I want to believe it, but it's just that I feel I'll be disappointed and it was some fan video that I saw.
Okay.
So back to the topic.
Well, no, I was going to say about what you're saying. At my club, I mentioned I showed it there. The 99% of the people there had not seen the original War Games. They enjoyed it as coming on a new episode. And that's what I mean. That's what I mean by not a replacement. That's what I mean as an alternate. If you've never seen War Games, the 10 episodes, and you come in and watch the War Games 90-minute episode, you're going to enjoy it. It's a fun episode. Well, it's a separate entity.
I'm curious. Are the people in your club? Are they all mainly New Who fans? Because I mean, the DVD was released,
right?
A standard definition DVD.
Yeah, but I don't know if they collect the stuff because but they do watch classic when they're watching. When I show it, I show classic. I don't know if they're watching BritBox or things like that. This was something they came on new to, and they liked it. Okay, so we have some actors who are in it. I would hope there's some actors, because if there aren't, I think we're just... Anyway, Ncuti Gatwa was, of course, the 15th Doctor. I love him in that role. Nicola Coughlan, she played Joy Almondo. I really enjoyed her. We'll talk more about her character, but the most notable previous work would be Derry Girls, which was a great comedy in England. My sister always recommended it to me. I watched it. Very funny. And again, we'll mention this word that we have to mention a few times, Bridgerton. You may know her from Bridgerton. Let's go through some of the other guests. Peter Benedict. Peter Benedict played Basil Flockhart, who is the male guest in the World War II sequence. His most notable previous work. Now, I've noted, I guess he's German, because his most notable previous work that I know of is the show Dark as Alexander Tiedemann. Dark was a supernatural time-traveling mystery that both Randy and I really loved.
I remember my friend telling me that it was interesting and
violent, but interesting, yeah.
Oh, no, the thing is, I got confused because she said that was a normal thing, whereas we were talking about Uwe Boll, who completely beat the German tax system to make horrible films.
Well, okay.
Sorry, that's a tangent. No, Uwe Boll made a bunch of films based on video games, and he only was able to do it because of a loophole in the German tax system. Yeah. And if I'm wrong about that, again, send me your hate mail or correct me.
If you get a chance, folks, to see Dark, give it a try. It's a really good show. It's from the makers of a show called 1899, which was another German show about an immigrant ship and there are all these different nationalities on the ship. And if you watch it in the original language and not the Netflix all English, people are talking in different languages and they can't understand each other. When you're watching it all in English, how do they not understand each other? They're talking English. It's a immigrant ship that gets involved when they find a second adrift ship that was lost, and it doesn't that introduction doesn't describe the supernatural science fiction undertones. And damn it, I'm so pissed it got canceled after season 1 because the cliffhanger was amazing and totally brought it into science fiction proper. Anyway, back to it. Steph Diwali was played Anita Ben. Anita Ben was, of course, the person who worked. Was she a manager at the hotel, or do you think she was just a cleaner? Because she got him the job. Was she a manager? I've been trying to think of Anita.
Probably the owner.
She was okay.
I thought she was the manager since she had to
clean.
Check.
She was cleaning.
Well, the main reason she was probably cleaning, it's Christmas. I mean, one of the things we're going to talk about is who goes to hotel room on Christmas Day, and is a hotel fully staffed on Christmas Day or
of course
New Year's
it wasn't
Day.
fully staffed.
No, it wasn't.
So
they hired Ncuti. How could it have been fully staffed? But no, I wasn't sure what I thought. Originally, I thought she was the owner, then manager, and then I don't know. But something I'm going to talk about later on makes me think that manager does fit. Joel Fry. Joel Fry played Trev Simpkins. He was the human security guard. He's most notable from, and you might know him from, Paddington in Peru.
Was he actually a security guard? I mean,
yeah. So he would be considered a security guard. He was also in Inside Number 9 in 1 or 2 episodes, and most importantly, Our Flag Meets Death. He played Frenchie in that show. We talk about like shows getting big names, and you got Nicola in this. I think Joel is a proper big name for this too. We have Jonathan Aris, who was the hotel manager of the Time Hotel. He was a Silurian. He was best known for playing Anderson in Stephen Moffat and Mark Gatiss' Sherlock. So another.
Oh, yes.
That one I think was a legacy. I think that was like nepotism. He had to put him in there. You had Julia Watson, who was the female hotel guest in World War II. You've probably seen her in Casualty or Never the Twain. Yeah, British people know what I'm talking about. Americans have no clue what I just said. We had, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to butcher this name, Neve Marie Smith as Sylvia Trench, the train passenger. Bill Baxter played Edmund Hillary. I'm sure you know who that is, Edmund Hillary. Do I have to explain to our people who he was? The first climber of Mount Everest. But then you've got Samuel Sherpa Moore playing Tenzing Norgay, the quote-unquote second, really it's the first climber of Mount Everest. You've got Ruchi Rai, who is a receptionist at the hotel. Joshua Leese as Mr. Single, who you might know from Napoleon as the first French signalman, so you probably don't know him. Eli Potter played the server. Liam Prince Donnelly played the barman, who is previously known. He was an episode of Pennyworth as a West Ham fan. Again, may not know who that is. Fiona Marr played Angela Grace, who most notably previous work was Erin in The Sandman and Susie Campbell in Ted Lasso. So you might know this. Fiona Scott played Joy's mom, and then there was that little cameo at the end. Nice little cameo to prove to people or to remind people that she's not gone forever. Millie Gibson as Ruby Sunday, and she still calls her real mom, so that's nice. She hasn't lost that family thing. Okay, let's do our 3-sentence synopsis. Juan.
Dr. spots a mysterious suitcase at a hotel with time portals to several points in human history. What's in the suitcase? How will it change the people who hold it? And I think that summarizes this show.
Yeah, it does. I think that's a perfect
Good summary.
So the Time Hotel. What do you guys think about the Time Hotel?
Was
it a good storyline? Was it just garbage? What do you think, Vicky?
I want to go. Are you
want to
kidding
go?
me? That would be so much fun. And I love the design of it. It was somewhere between Art Deco, Gallifrey one, and everything in between. So I thought it was gorgeous, and I love the concept. I love the idea of walking through a door and getting to experience something, and then getting to come back to use a modern day bathroom.
Yeah. Kind of okay. I mean, when I go to Middle Earth into Bilbo Baggins' home, I would like to come back to use the proper facilities.
But then you're not experiencing the real experience.
Yeah, that's okay.
Well, I'm in Middle Earth. I experience enough just being there. I don't need to do everything.
To wear a table in the Elizabethan era, because that's what they had under the various levels of skirts, is there was a wooden table that helped hold it all up. If I'd be willing to do that, I get to come back and use the real bathroom. So pesky little things like that.
Yeah. Jared,
awesome.
Jared, the portals, the hotel room doors, was it a trope? What do you think about the concept?
I mean, something that they lifted straight out of Up as far as the doors to take you from one place to another. Sorry.
That would actually be Monsters Inc., but that's okay.
Monsters Inc., but still Monsters Inc. But yes,
it's a great concept. I wish we had about a season worth of it to explore it.
You've heard the rumors. You've heard what people are saying. That's going to be the next miniseries, the next spinoff, the Time Hotel.
Something to go back to just for a second. The hotel in England where Anita works.
Yeah.
That is the actual name of that actual hotel. You can go stay there. It is open today.
No way.
They didn't even change the exterior name. They didn't
Wow.
change the exterior signing. That hotel actually exists.
It's a little dinky.
But wait, did they build a set for the room or the lobby, or did they actually film
Well, the
on
exterior, I
location?
mean, that's the exteriors. I'm sure they built the lobby or
Oh, okay.
the
I was
lobby.
just
But the actual exterior of the hotel, that hotel actually exists.
And
That's cool.
And the view that you have out the window at near the end of it, that would be the real view you'd see from the building. It's in the right spot. You see the eye, you see the Big Ben and things. It would all be in that angle.
Oh, no.
No.
That hotel is nowhere near the West End.
Okay. Well, my dreams are shot there.
All dashed.
Yeah, all dashed.
Well, actually, I could tie that into. I mean, the reason I ask if they built the sets is we're celebrating the 55th anniversary of the first broadcast of Spearhead from Space, which, due to a strike, had to be filmed on film, and they couldn't use sets, so they used actual buildings and locations rather than to go from set to set. They couldn't go to set, so that's why I was asking whether they actually filmed in a real hotel or not.
That's something you run into problems with when they use these real places for exterior locations. If you go to Cardiff Bay right now and you want to go stand on the square that they used to go down into the hub, about 5 years ago, a city worker took a chunk out of it. So you can tell which one it is because it's the one that's got part of the corner missing.
Oh, wow.
Well, was he taking it as a souvenir?
I have no idea.
You
It was
brought
an
up
accident. Didn't really happen. You didn't see anything here.
on a tangent. Juan, you brought up the fact that Spearhead from Space, they filmed in real buildings and real locations. I was reading someone on social media the other day was asking a question about anybody who's from Britain, were hospitals back then as poorly stocked and as they looked in Spearhead from Space? He said they did not look like they were, I don't know.
Well, wait, I could be wrong. I don't think that was a real hospital. I think
I don't think it was either.
I think it was a BBC location. It was a BBC training area. Now, again,
okay. So then the answer to that question would be no. The answer to that question for that gentleman is no. That is not what they look like.
If you keep tap dancing, I could look it up on the interwebs.
If you're blue and you don't know where to go to, why don't you go where fashion sits? Stop. All right.
Mark, one of my pet peeves about the real world, you brought up the view.
The real world, yes.
You brought up the view from the window, right?
Mm-hmm.
You always see these travel advertisements for, I'm going to London, and there's this wonderful picture of Big Ben outside the airplane window, and I was like, I would be screaming for dear life. That plane is crashing into the Millennium Wheel right now. Like,
we're going down. We're going
exactly.
Yeah, and I don't know about Mark is the only one who might be able to challenge me. I was just there in August then, and Jarrod is right. If you're flying that close to Big Ben, you're in the middle of downtown.
Yeah, you're in trouble.
Yeah, Vicky could answer that too.
I was
Vicky
there.
Was just there last year.
May, and I'll tell you that. Yeah, I mean, no offense, you really couldn't see much of anything as the plane was coming in.
And also, I did find out the information. The majority of, according to Wikipedia, which is always right.
It's always right.
The majority of filming for Spearhead of Space was undertaken at a BBC engineering college at Wood Norton near Evesham and the pub nearby Radford.
All right. So the answer to your question, sir, on Facebook is no, that is not what they were like.
They were worse.
They were. NHS back in the 70s. What can I tell you? Okay, so we're in the hotel, and the doctor's in the hotel, getting some milk for his tea, or dressed in a nightgown. No, I mean, he's in a robe. He's in a robe.
Don't pass any judgment. There's nobody here that hasn't gone into a Hampton Inn and got a free cup of coffee at some point in time.
Okay, you know what? Hold on. Not even that. Remember when we had the guests for Dan's cruise, and we were picking them up? I went into the section. I'm not a hotel guest. I got orange juice.
You didn't go for the whole breakfast.
Well, I could have, but I didn't. And Trev is questioning this, because it's supposed to only be for guests. But the doctor's carrying 2 mugs.
Force of habit.
force of habit. Yeah, definitely force of habit. Because he, I guess, again, is lonely.
He found Rogue. He's got Rogue tied up around back. He had to go.
Okay, well, if he's got Rogue, then he's cheating on Rogue with Anita. But that's I won't. That's a little further away. But so and then they see the case. A gentleman has got a case wrapped with a what are those? A handcuff around his arms.
Handcuff.
We can't get
the unassuming briefcase, but then you know it's got to be important, like the football, because it's handcuffed to his wrist. Why is he walking into a time traveling hotel with a suitcase to handcuff to his wrist? I mean,
well, wait.
You
to
just
be
know
honest,
it's got to be something wrong.
Well, to be fair, sometimes what's handcuffed to a person's wrist can just be some boring dispatches from the State Department that we don't want to go public, and we want to make sure that they're secure at all times. That's I'm giving you the reality.
Well, wait a minute, but the gentleman carrying with the briefcase is not looking up at the hotel. He's just looking straight ahead. He's focused, and it just seemed wrong.
He seemed a little off.
There should have been a better form of tether than handcuff.
Yeah.
You know something's up. The doctor knows something's up.
Yeah.
And so, of course, what does the doctor do? Because he's got that ever curious mind. Well, we got to go find out what the hell's going on.
And we make Trev the first possible companion.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's going to happen with him? How's he going to play into this? And I like the fact that it felt a little bit like, Janet Leigh at the beginning of Psycho. When we lose him so quickly, it's like, well, I guess he's not going to do much. Yeah. Little did we know. And
which brings the question, have the doctor not spoken to him, would he have lived?
I love that. I absolutely love that.
I think he possibly would have, if he walked in there, and he wouldn't walked in there without him. So maybe that is, you're right. But let's say he was going to walk in there anyway, and it happened, and he died. I don't think he would have become, because like he's saying, I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to, and he's making, he's promising. He said, I've never done anything. I've never been able to do anything. I promise you this. And he seems like very inept. And, when the suit, and I'm going to talk about this in a second, but the suit, when the briefcase says upgrade achieved, and I'm thinking to myself, yeah, Trev's not really an upgrade. If you think about it, that's kind of a downgrade.
We don't know everything about Trev. How do you know?
If it wasn't for the doctor giving him a mission, if it wasn't for him doing that, by the end of it, he would not have been a reliable, smart, intelligent genius who can help. He would have stayed, be dead, and he'd have just been, the same thing. So he did grow. I think the doctor helped him grow. Even though
the doctor, something changes. So
even though he died, I think the doctor definitely changed him. Definitely. I'm agreeing with you, Vicky.
But I also want to say the word died, they transformed to another plane of existence and a form of energy.
But you didn't know that.
But we didn't know that till
we did not know that. We did not know that at all.
So there's a little bit of at first it's all sad, but frankly, by the end of it, you're going, oh my God, this is so awesome. That's how I want to go. I want to turn into a ball of energy and go out to the universe.
Yeah, I think that would be nice. Do you guys notice the name of the bar? The name of the bar in the Time Hotel.
It was real quick. I missed it. So
it was the Tambles, which, if you have seen Stephen Moffat's Time Traveler's Wife, and I guess in the book too, the main character, his surname is the Tambles. The gentleman in there. Funny. So yeah, the name of the clothes store in there, Mr. Ben's Any Era Clothes. Well, we did mention a few minutes ago, but we didn't know until the credits that Anita's last name was Ben.
Now it makes sense.
Now it makes sense. Yeah, there were all these little teeny Easter eggs in this too.
What makes these things so fun.
Yeah, the newspaper.
Watch it again.
Yeah, the newspaper. Now I did not see. Did any of you see a close up of the newspaper? Besides on people posting it online, did you saw it? Tell us what you saw on there, Jared.
The Duck Pond mystery has been solved.
Woohoo! Finally, the 11th hour is finished.
I think we should talk about the story. I
Well,
love the
okay.
Easter eggs. I love all those bits. I always do.
Yeah.
And I like to watch things more than once so that I can try and
Mhm.
catch more things.
Okay.
But the actual story, because we started to talk about it, and
Yeah.
we talked about how these Christmas specials have Christmas as part of the character, as part of the flow within the story. And I have to tell you, I didn't quite know what was going to happen at the end. A lot of times, you can kind of guess it and stuff. I like the fact that there was a couple of left turns thrown in there that it's like, oh, that's kind of cool. Oh, that's kind of nice. Oh, look at that. And it just, I don't know. I felt like it was a very interesting, emotional episode. And, I enjoyed it. And I actually liked the story.
I really enjoyed the story a lot. Everyone in the room, when we watched it, we're very happy with it.
It's going to prove to be one of those episodes that even if you don't, you're not an avid fan of Doctor Who, or even maybe even a fan, it might not be a horrible one to introduce people to.
So we have a new one. We don't necessarily have to go with the Blink.
I know everyone goes.
I never put it. That
Blink
does
is a
not put
horrible
people in.
episode
I
to
do
start
not
people.
put that into people. That doesn't work for me. But yeah, this one could be an entranceway. The one of his other stories, the Doctor, which what is it, the Doctor Witch in the Wardrobe?
Oh yeah, that's another
The Doctor, the Widow, and the Lack of
Widow and the right. I thought that's a good entrance place because
Yes.
it's not Doctor Who. But it brings you into Doctor Who. I think that's a good story.
When you're introducing people to Doctor Who, people tend to want to go Blink, and they're like big and hard. No, you need to introduce.
I only do that with horror fans.
You need to introduce them to something in the middle. So the show will sometimes get better, it'll sometimes get worse, but it'll stay there.
Yeah. Okay. I will go with that. But also, what the French is going on. We have a new curse word, French. Douglas Adams introduced Belgium, but now we have French. That's good to know. Good to know.
It'll go with our Mavity.
And Mavity was brought up again. It's there. It looks, as long as RTD is in charge, there will never be a GR. It'll always be an M. Mavity. And that's good. That's continuity, folks. That's great.
Big Finish has actually picked that up. And if you listen to audios released over the course of the last year or two, they've replaced the word gravity with Mavity.
Okay.
Neat.
Wow.
If we're talking about plot really quickly, in terms of Anita's Hotel, how many times in the history of the show has the show depicted the current time that the show was going out and being broadcast?
Okay.
Well, wait, they always. I think it's very common. I mean,
in the RTD year, there was the year ahead. They skipped a year, so it was always in the future.
It was. Right. I always thought Moffat, because I remember when I think Amy's wedding was going to be actually on the day of the finale, or at least it was planned.
Finale. Yeah.
Because when the Doctor leaves and takes Amy, the clock shows it's a future date, but everybody looked at their calendar and goes, "Oh, that's the day they broadcast the finale of Matt's first season."
Yeah. I remember that.
I never noticed the dates. I always thought that they were more or less.
But I'm just saying, it's not very often that it's concurrent.
Yeah, I will give you one, and it was going to be something else. It's not a tangent exactly, but we're talking about Doctor having to live in the present in a straight line. You've got Power of Three.
Yeah.
Power of Three. What was the other one? There's another one. The Lodger, he had to live in a straight line for a while in the present.
Didn't he live in a straight line when Matt wrapped up in Time of the Doctor, when he's living on Trafalgar? No, that's Kurt Vonnegut. Trenzalore.
Yeah, he stayed on Trenzalore.
He stayed on Trenzalore for 1,000 years.
Okay. But I think the subheading was present day. But you're right. And I was actually going to list something else, not with him, but the Eighth Doctor in the Wilderness Yearbooks, there was a period where he lost his TARDIS and had to live from the 1800s to present day. Well, what was present day then? So, I mean, it's been done before. But I thought I enjoyed this linear living. Is Anita a companion? Because I know the classic definition is you must go on the TARDIS for at least one trip.
If Liz Shaw is a companion, Anita's a companion.
Not only companion, I think there's more than just companion. I don't think.
I think it's a true
we're talking a friendship that, at least in her eyes, was boyfriend girlfriend. In a way. Oh, you're gonna leave me without telling me? That's what other people. She what her language sounded like she was leaving him and they were together. I don't think they were together like that, but I think the friendship would make a human. I think a friendship would make a human think that. I don't think the doctor may have thought that, but I think she was attached to him in a way and was definitely.
I feel, because like with Rose and Martha, you know, it was so obvious in your face. This one, she didn't read that way to me.
Well, no, but it was a year.
Best friend, possibly only friend.
Okay.
All right. Because she had that interesting solitary existence there at the hotel, which is why she was so quick.
Yeah.
To accept the offer at the end, because she deserved more and she knew more. And she looked at the card very fondly. I didn't feel any of the angst I felt from Rose or Martha. And it's just, you know, and if a girl's in love with you, boy, she's going to let you know. So.
Well, I don't, not always. I don't think
if
so.
you piss her off, she will.
Can I just chime in and say that if you're going to go to London and spend any vacation time or whatever, London of 2025 is about the safest place that you could go, because you got the doctor hanging out in the hotel. You've got 14 hanging out with Donna in the garden having tea parties. And you've got Unit. I think you're safe.
And we also know that the United States hasn't fizzled out, because on December 25th in 2025, the doctor's in New York. So everything is going to, 2025 is a great year, everyone. Woo! All right.
It better be, because 2024 sucked.
Please be a better year. Please be a good year. Oh, let's talk the bootstrap paradox. There was a bootstrap paradox in this episode. I love the bootstrap paradox. Folks, I don't know if you remember what the bootstrap paradox is, but we're talking a Peter Capaldi story. Name that story, guys.
Oh, God, don't do that to me.
Anyway, bootstrap paradox. Let me explain what the bootstrap paradox is. It's a sequence of events in which an event was among the causes of another event, which in turn is among the causes of the first mentioned event. A hypothetical example was a time traveler who was a fan of Beethoven. He went into the past to meet his hero. However, he discovers that Beethoven did not exist. So the traveler decides to publish all the works of Beethoven himself, thus becoming Beethoven. The confusing question is, who composed Beethoven's Fifth? Because the person who went back in time and did that only knew it from what was done before, but there was no one there before, but it was him, and that's what it was. This number to stop a countdown.
Yep.
It was completely made up. The number didn't exist.
But I love it.
I do too. And when I'm watching it, I'm going. The second that goes, I'm going, oh God, that's a paradox. How are they going to do this? A paradox? And then the very next line, and it sounds like Stephen Moffat realized that he threw himself in the corner. Oh, as long as I don't use the TARDIS, it's not a paradox, because the time dampener's in the hotel. He knew people were going to have a problem with it. So the very next line,
I thought it was hilarious.
I loved it. I love that.
If anybody can find it, there's a short story from the 90s called Teach Yourself Ballroom Dancing.
Okay.
It's the Sixth Doctor. That is another great paradox.
Was that in one of the Big Finish short trips? Yeah, I've got all, 26 of them? I have all of them somewhere. I'll have to, what's it called again?
Teach Yourself Ballroom Dancing.
I'll have to look for that one again. Living for a Year, the paradox. Oh, I love the fact that when the future doctor came in, it was basically one of those I'll explain later comments he kept saying over and over.
I love that.
Yeah. So the doctor was, so we're going back to now where the future doctor is. Joy, by then, and we didn't mention this, Joy has the handcuff around her wrist. Everyone who's been before it has fizzled, not died. We'll say fizzled, because we know it's not dead now. Transferred to energy. That sounds like death. And he's like, but all that time, well, actually only a couple of seconds, he's there for a year in Earth. And he goes, all this time I've had time to figure this one out. Well, at least a couple of seconds. So he only worked out in a couple of seconds that it must be a hydrogen atom that's being grown into a star by Villengard. Well, he didn't know about Villengard until and he's saying, it can't be a couple thousand years. It's not going to work. You're going to blow everyone up on Earth. And then he realizes he's in 65 million years ago with a dinosaur. And my really important question is, who had a hotel room 65 million years ago in the age of the dinosaur?
One silly.
What?
No, that to me made sense because, people want to see dinosaurs.
Well, I have an answer.
Yeah.
You didn't let me answer it.
Oh, sorry.
I thought you were asking us. You were asking us.
You asked a question.
It was Adric. It was Adric. Adric had a hotel. Adric built a hotel. And no. All right. You're right. They probably built it. But the doors seem to be that you have to have a door already there for them to build an extension to the door.
Maybe in prehistory, you've got a little bit of a leeway.
The thing is, what was that room for the last room that they use? And I don't want to give away the punchline until later. So I don't even know what that room was.
Right.
It was some sort of, I want to say, either a prison or a vault or something like that.
Yeah.
Because they had the suitcase in there and it just, I don't know. It was a weird setup, but I love the fact that you come out the cave.
Yeah.
And it just, I will be honest, that was one of the things I kept wondering from the moment they first said star. It's a Christmas show.
I knew it.
And so it's like, well, okay, there's this kind of famous star.
Yeah.
Let's see if they do it. Because I didn't know.
I saw that coming a mile away. Like, I definitely knew it was I definitely knew it was coming.
But how they did it,
how would they do
was
it?
Nice.
Right. So he finds out that it's been done by Villengard. Does anyone want to take point on Villengard?
Well, they were the guys who made the mine and boom.
They are, according to the doctor, one of his oldest enemies. Okay. Let's go a little history lesson. Villengard is supposed to be based in the center, the dead center of the universe, and it has done weaponry and stuff. And I'm thinking, there was an episode, Peter Davison, the center of the universe, ships, blah blah blah. Oh yeah, Terminus. Is it possible? And this is, I know you hate this one. I know you hate when I ballpark and throw things out, but Terminus, maybe a subsidiary. It's an interesting point because I'm like, they're saying this is the fact, and from the fact that that's another company that did the same thing.
Speaking of companies doing the same thing,
yes,
and the Peter Davison era, one of the things that's great on tangents and people doing things before. One of my favorite books when I was growing up was a book by Craig Hinton called The Crystal Bucephalus.
I read that.
It was one of the very first missing adventures. And do you remember what the premise of the Crystal Bucephalus was? It was a restaurant that sent you back in time.
Yeah.
You could eat at every restaurant in history. And the doctor got stuck. And he had to open his own restaurant and earn the reputation to have the Bucephalus create a link to his restaurant. I waited for the Time Hotel for them to put Shooty in that.
Wow, a lot of things like that going. Bringing back my idea that I said during the 60th reviews that we're in a alternate universe that's based on stories and things that have happened in the Doctor's past, maybe happening in different ways. I say, you listen to our old shows. I talk about this in depth. I'm not going to go into it now. Listen to my whole thing then.
Mark, I'm going to say something.
Yes.
I'm going to be very clear. You're talking about stories being told in different ways.
Yes.
Something like the BBC publishing novelizations of Big Finish audios. Just put that in your cap and hold it.
Well, one day there's probably going to, if Judy makes himself available, they're probably going to do stories about how to, between when the Doctor leaves London and when he gets to New York, because there's a big, at least a few days of travel. I mean, did he take an airplane? Did he take a ship?
I would love to see a modern day ship under siege with Shooty Gatwa on the modern day QE2 taking the transatlantic. to get to New York.
I like that idea. So you can talk to your friends at Bad Wolf and see if they can put you in there. You can write
strings,
you can write that, Jarrod. You could write that and then give it to them. Jarrod is connected. Okay. We kind of went over. So 65 million BC. That Tyrannosaurus Rex, that was a damn good CGI. And I was like,
I'm gonna be the disruptor here.
okay.
It was okay. The thing is, if people follow my blog, and I guess Mark barely does, I've been rewatching the 50th anniversary broadcast of the first season of Land of the Lost, and it's 1970s technology, and it still holds up.
Okay.
Is it better? Is it worse? Who knows? But it was okay.
If they're doing the thing about if they're doing the thing about condensing episodes and making short ones, if they did Invasion of the Dinosaurs, they could use new effects, because it's a big difference between the Invasion of the Dinosaurs, which is all about the dinosaurs, and Jordan of the World, which is a little couple seconds of it. This big difference there. So the suitcase is inside the Tyrannosaurus Rex, and 65 million years later, it's got to be picked up by Villengard to get out of there, off the Earth. So in other words, we were never in jeopardy of losing people on Earth. In fact, if you think about it, we were never in jeopardy in this whole story. There was no conflict. I mean, there was, but it was not a...
No, wait a minute.
The doctor caused the conflict.
Well,
there was no conflict.
I don't buy the wait in 65 million years either. Every single person here has seen Jurassic Park 3 when he swallowed the phone. You just have a couple hours and everything's fine.
But wait a minute. Had they succeeded in the plan, they would have planted the star, and the star would have cooked into the present.
No,
it wasn't going to float away. That was, if it wasn't for Joy, it would have detonated on the Earth.
No. They said there was a signal. They said it was going to release a signal through the telepathic connection to the person who was the last person, and they would contact Villengard, and Villengard would pick it up and get it off Earth. They said that would happen.
I don't trust.
It was there. It was a specific plot point.
Villengard prolongs wars for their own interests.
And the only reason they didn't do it was the doctor severed the connection by totally denigrating and making Joy feel so friggin' bad. And I'm thinking Ark in Space, Sarah and Tom Baker. But
you're not the only one who's made that comparison.
They were totally going to pick it up. They were not going to leave it on Earth to blow up. It was stated very clearly at that point that it was the doctor's fault that may happen.
There
was no conflict. If the doctor wasn't there, the star would have been born somewhere else. The end.
No, I don't think there was any conflict. There's a certain amount of, and I'm not a big, preordination or any, I dislike all that concept. But I do feel, to use that word, destiny, it was Joy's destiny for it to happen the way it did.
Okay.
And for the doctor to recognize his own mistakes,
loneliness,
and to be so moved by this sacrifice, if you think she's dead, or the fact that she's in a new plane of existence, but the fact that he almost stopped her from becoming exactly what she was supposed to.
Right.
My only complaint is that we had so little of Joy, but I think that was on purpose.
I thought we had enough of it.
But I didn't think there was, at the end, there was no conflict. She just took it. The doctor was looking for her, and she's, I'm going to take it away.
Did there need to be a conflict at the end?
No, there doesn't.
Why couldn't you just be happy?
But what I'm saying is the conflict was completely, and even the doctor didn't cause that much conflict. They didn't really, there was no fighting. There was no, all it was someone dying. Ooh, we're going to stop someone dying. It's not going to die. No, right.
Does everyone have to be diehard?
Can I say something?
Okay.
I'm just saying it was a very peaceful episode. Christmas. Peaceful.
There you go.
There was no need, but I wasn't saying I was missing. I didn't say it was missing the conflict. I was just saying, pointing out there was no real conflict. And then I was going to bring up the Christmas aspect. The final scene we saw it coming, right, Vicky? You knew it had to happen. I knew it happened. This is
I knew
Star.
there had to be well, I knew about the star, and then the things that we see from then on out.
Yeah.
I thought it was a nice touch with the mom, and I like the little glimpse of Ruby Sunday because, like you said, that tells people that she's still involved with the story. She's just not with him right now.
Every time there's a location on the screen, place noted and the year.
Yes.
And at the end, Bethlehem 1.
And everyone has hope.
Yes. Okay. Yes. I agree with that.
Now, of course, the idea of Bethlehem being year 1 is kind of humorous. It really should be year 0.
But you can't, there's no such thing as year 0.
It just depends on how you view that anyway. So.
Okay.
Well, have we fixed the calendar? I remember as a kid, a lot of encyclopedias that I saw would put Jesus' birth at 4 BC because they admitted when they first did it, they miscalculated.
I do remember reading
when the event. So I don't know if they went into a conclave or whatever, and we fixed the calendar.
Well, I just don't think there was a year 0. I just don't think that would make sense. A year 0. I think it would have to go. And there was no year 1
before and after.
Okay.
Really?
There was no year 1 BC. I mean, they didn't count down backwards before C. No. Did they? So the years were.
No, that is a human construct.
Right.
That was started by the Catholic Church.
So okay. So I think 1 being the start, because you start with 1. Everyone starts at the beginning. El do re mi fa sol la ti do. 1 2 3 4 5 6. So I think that was a great caption. I thought that fit, but I knew that the Star of Bethlehem. It was so friggin' obvious once I found out it was going to be a star growing. But that's okay. Because I like
the humorous thing is that the star moves, and they show the 3 wise men. 3 wise men don't get there until they get to Egypt. So, you kind of like, you guys, you didn't read the first chapter, people.
Oh, yeah, unfortunately, I read the first chapter, but not from there. I read the first chapter, the old stuff. I read the first. You're talking the new stuff.
Not the first chapter of Moses.
Right. Yeah.
So,
in the beginning, which might have been year 0 if you think about it. In the beginning, could have been 0. The real 0.
It was nicely done. I like the way that everyone, because there was these moments of crisis, whether you've got trying to climb Everest or surviving the Blitz. They look up, they see the star, they get hope.
Yeah.
And that was her whole purpose. Joy was to share hope, which makes perfect sense.
Joy to the world.
Yep.
Joy to the world. What about her mother? What about her mother?
I thought that was wonderful that her mother got to join her in the new plane of existence.
Yeah, I thought.
I sadly can relate to that because the last conversation I had with my mother, she wasn't sick. Actually, her death was a surprise. She died the next day. We just had a routine conversation. I had seen her on Christmas, and we just, my sister-in-law, who was looking after her daily, would take her pad and she would just, oh, hey, Juan's calling you on the phone, and she would see me and we would wave. And she was a little bit, she was a 91-year-old woman. And unfortunately, she then died the next day. So I can relate to that. I talked to my friends. I've seen the show twice, once by myself and once with friends. So I was able to talk to them and say that that's relatable and that that can happen.
Yeah.
We're getting close to the end of the show. I wanted to go ahead.
I'm surprised that we got COVID already this soon, because that's
a
clear COVID reference.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, yeah, definitely.
Well, it's been now. We're entering in March. We'll be entering our 5th year when COVID happened. Maybe we've got time to look at it that way. Maybe it's about time. But then again, I don't know if there was. I guess in Judy's first season they could have done a COVID-oriented story. I don't think. Well, I think Chimble was in the middle of COVID, and actually that kind of. Some people
kind of screwed his.
Well, it screwed Flux up completely.
Yeah, it screwed up. That was one of the Radio Free Scour pointed out that I think by separating the Doctor and his companions, in case Jodie, you could have Jodie sick, or you could have you could have the actress who plays Jazz, whose name's escaping. Mandip. You can have them sick, but you can't have them sick at the same time. So separate them and keep them apart from each other, doing their own thing. And I think I remember I don't know if he discussed it in detail when he was interviewed on at Gallifrey One, but when he was interviewed
Yes.
by Radio Free Scaro at Gallifrey One, he did. They got to mention the flux. They didn't get time. They didn't have a chance. They had only limited time, so they were. But they were able to talk about his time about working on during COVID and the challenges that provided.
Yeah, I was at Gallifrey One, and when he was talking, one of the times, because there was several times that he was up talking, one of the times he went into depth about how his budget got cut because of COVID, and then because of the reality of trying to film during lockdown. Flux
And-
was a far more involved story, and I always said I felt like so many of his stories were missing a chapter. Or missing an hour, or missing, the transition was, something was missing,
Yeah.
and throw in a few more bits and it would have flowed nicer, and we would have enjoyed it more.
If you look at his work on Broadchurch, a season of stories tightly fit, telling one story,
Yes.
and then that didn't happen in Flux,
Yeah.
there had to be a reason, and I will go with his reasoning for that. We got to end the show soon. I wanted to mention two quotes. When the doctor is yelling at the doctor for leaving him in the past, do you see, this is why nobody likes you. You have to be mysterious all the time. That's why everyone leaves you. That is why you're always alone. And then the other one, do you know how alone you are? You live in a great big giant spaceship and there aren't any chairs. And you haven't even noticed because nobody ever comes round.
I like that.
He realizes, he's realizing self-realization, I guess, is going on there.
Tennant had a chair.
Yes, he did. He had. If you think about Hartnell had a chair. Hartnell had a chair. Nice chair. Beautiful chair.
I think Tom Baker had a chair. I don't think Pertwee had a chair.
Pertwee barely had a TARDIS.
Yeah, that's true. He did most of his time sitting in the lab unit.
For those that are keeping score about, we talked briefly about COVID.
Go for it.
Big Finish took full advantage of COVID and getting people. For everyone that worrying about Tom Baker, because this is anniversary, his most recent adventure, not the anniversary one, but of his ongoing range, the Hellwood Inheritance, is coming out in March. It was recorded in 2020.
Oh wow.
That's how far ahead they are.
Well, but that's standard policy with them to always record ahead of time, at least in their classic.
Yeah, and it's I spoke to Colin Baker one time, right when they started the podcast, the big podcast, where they were like, and he's like, I don't get it. They've got me recording every other week. It's like they think I'm going to die.
Supposedly, Tom Baker's always thought he was going to die around. I think Louise Jameson said in the 70s he thought he was going to die. It actually sold all his possessions as was like couch surfing. At least that's what I've heard that from Radio Free Scaro, who I think might have heard it from Louise Jameson. So that's where I heard it. Second thing, if we're wrapping up, there's something I don't know if we've talked about. This is a tangent. Tony Haydock has done his annual in memoriam of people who have worked on Doctor Who.
Yes.
Which you can find on YouTube on his channel. So if anybody's interested, I usually post stuff like this for the Guardians of Gallifrey, which is my local Doctor Who club, which I'm a member of, and I posted that on it. Also, there is one other thing I want to put a plug for. The Galactic Journey is a Hugo nominated it's not a podcast, it's a online fanzine. Try to find their Discord channel. It's Portal 45 / Galactic Journey. And they are now doing a rewatch. The Galactic Journey's mandate is, what would have it been like if 55 years ago we had the tools of the internet to examine science fiction community and fandom and its fandom. And that's what happened in 2013. That's when they started the Galactic Journey, and it's been going on. The last couple of years, they've been doing a Star Trek rewatch for the 55th anniversary of their shows. And tomorrow, well, unfortunately, you might be missing this, but hopefully it'll be a regular thing. They're going to be starting to show from the 7th scene onward until they decide to close up the Galactic Journey. rebroadcasts. It's on January 4th. They're going to show Spearhead from Space around noon, Eastern Standard Time. Calculate your times in that. So I just want to put a prop out, and they will be at least hopefully doing season 7. Gideon Marcus, who runs the Galactic Journey, does not look like he's losing steam right now. So sorry to draw that out.
That's okay. I have 3 things. First, we mentioned, and I can't believe we didn't mention this at the top of the show. Yeah, 50 years. 50 years of Tom. Wow. Anniversary just passed. Have you got that bookazine that they released on PDF bookazine? I have it. I haven't read it yet. It's for free, and it's all about the Tom Baker era. It's supposed to be really cool. So that was one. Second thing, I'm going to throw this out there because someone posted this, and I just thought, yeah, that's not right. Is that Anita is actually Mrs. Flood? Don't buy that. That's garbage. I just want to say I read that. No. But the third thing, the third and most important thing, Juan, the Galactic Journey, that's fine. Radio Free Scaro owes us some money for advertising. Either that or put us on their show. Just one or the other. We had a lot of radio.
Technically, I've been name checked a few times because I have met at least 2 of them at Worldcon and NASFIC. NASFIC is the North American Science Fiction Convention held whenever a Worldcon is held outside of North America. Right. So, and Warren and I keep, we sometimes play Blue Sky tab because I try to do as much interface as I can on Blue Sky in order not to help out an insane South African billionaire, I should say.
Yeah. Have them listen to this episode. I'd like to hear what they think. Anyway, any final words before we go on this review of Joy to the World and this first episode of the new year, 2025, on Mark Who 42's Universe? Anybody?
It's very interesting to think that we are as far away from Rose as the people watching the 5 Doctors as it went live were from
the
pilot.
20 years. Yeah, 20. The anniversary is coming up in March.
Yep. Although I wonder
that just blows your mind.
Maybe that's when they're
that long.
They said that the season was coming out sooner than we think. Maybe it's coming out that weekend.
Don't believe it unless you hear
I'm not saying. I made
Mark
that
is
up.
rumor mongering people. He's rumor mongering.
I'm making it up for conversations pieces.
No. I hate to spread.
When do you think it's going to start?
I don't care. I'm gonna wait for the thing is, I hate
when they tell us.
I hate the insane rumors. Oh,
Juan,
this person's.
I do this to tease you, Juan. I love you, man.
And the thing is, it rarely works. It rarely works. I mean, I think somebody did guess that Missy was the master. I think it's very rare that the rumors are right. I mean, how many Susans have there been? How many Romanas have there been?
Well,
now I am curious.
Well, all I can say is I was 100% right on Sutek, but that's another reason.
But I do have one thing I do want to say. I am curious if they're going to celebrate the 20th anniversary of Modern Who with any show. Maybe we're going to have a Dalek appearance, or because we didn't get any classic monsters.
That's true.
This year, and you can't keep stuff under wraps. I mean, the monsters from the Daleks were kept a secret from Doomsday, and the Master was kept. That was a big surprise, and Tom Baker was a surprise in Day of the Doctor. Yeah. So we can't keep surprises if we really work out.
Jarrod, I have a question: Is War of the Land and the Sea supposed to come out before season 2?
I don't think so.
Is it come after?
No, because it's still in post.
It's still in post.
It's still very much in post. And
interesting.
It would have been.
So the bringing it back to ratings and stuff, the fact that they're going to air it after they make a decision if they're keeping Doctor Who kind of makes me think they're keeping it. But again, it's on me, and that's on me.
This is the thing.
No, Juan, I'm agreeing with you. I said that's on me. That's my opinion. It's not necessarily the truth. I said
really at this point, the decision's been made. It's just
of course it has.
It's just a matter of budget,
right?
Is there going to be Disney money, or is there not going to be Disney money?
And do you really have to know? I mean, really, why do we have to know everything before if it's going to continue before the season's even started?
We don't need to know everything.
The whole Eccleston, and they announced on week 2 of Eccleston that he was leaving and David Tennant was coming. That was BS. That was total BS. That was so wrong of the BBC to do.
And
didn't give him a chance.
And on that hypothetical thing,
Mm-hmm.
if Shooty was leaving, Coach Shooty had said, "That's it, I'm done." There's
Right.
no way they would announce that before
Yeah.
the next season gets broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
No.
I want to point out Graham Norton.
Right.
Yeah. So case closed.
If we're gonna do, if people like ratings and things, I've started listening to a great new podcast hosted by Richard Osman and Marina Hyde.
Yes. Yeah.
It's called The Rest is Entertainment.
Damn straight.
They
Yeah.
talk about every aspect of entertainment: books, radio, TV, movies.
Nice.
And one of the things that they've been talking about recently is the shift from Christmas Day being the most important TV day to New Year's Day being the most important day.
Oh.
And if anybody is interested, they do talk about Doctor Who from time to time. And if you need a better connection, Richard Osman is Mr. Osgood.
I love Richard Osman. His House of Games.
Yep. If you ever get a chance to listen to that podcast, they answer questions and answers. It's brilliant. But if you want a good look at how ratings in the UK work, how are decisions made, etc., that's something I would recommend.
All right. Okay. Perfect. Guys, we're gonna go. Thank you all for listening to us here at Mark Who 42's Universe. We hope you will definitely, if you haven't seen War Games, the new version, if you haven't seen Joy to the World, hopefully we didn't spoil, and please go see them. You will enjoy them. On behalf of myself, Mark Baumgarten, Vicky Jakubowski, Juan Sanmiguel, and our special guest, Jarrod Cooper. Jarrod, where can they know you from?
I ran a crazy convention in Orlando for several years called Hurricane Who.
Woohoo!
I was part of the creators of a little Star Trek podcast called The Seventh Rule. It still goes on to this day. We did another one called The Alpha Project. I've done a couple side shows on Odyssey throughout the year. So, or the back row of the movie theater.
Do we know if any of our Big Finish audio podcasts are still out there? Or are they gone completely off the net?
They would have to be. I would have to look if Doctor Who Audio Files is still out there.
Okay, if it was Spreaker, it would have automatically went to YouTube. So it might be some. I don't know. Anyway, on behalf of all of us, Happy New Year, everyone. Hope you had a great holiday. We will be back soon with more of Mark Who 42's Universe. Bye, everyone. You've been listening to Mark Who 42's Universe. Hosting the show are Mark Baumgarten, Vicky Jakubowski, and Juan Sanmiguel. If you'd like to leave a comment for us, please email us at markwho42.42@gmail.com. Mark Who 42's Universe is produced and directed by Mark Baumgarten. Copyright 2025.